$95 per month, you can sell up to 50 items, and they'll give you the first 30 days free just to try it out. Remember, no per item fees. Join the revolution today. BuySellMakeOffer.com and tell them Pat Matthews sent you.
Sometimes I get to thinking there's just not enough love and romance left in our lives today. And that's why I like to reminisce and to relive that first feeling of love and do it all over again.
Did you boogie with your baby in the back row of the movie show?
The Wolfman's back all the way on Kcaa at midnight, Friday and Saturday nights, coming in March. Don't miss the Wolfman on 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi. There is a high wind watch in effect. For this morning, a clear sky, a sunny, warm day today with a high of 82. A mainly clear night tonight, low 52. Monday, sunny, high again 82. Clear Monday night, low 54. Very warm on Tuesday with sunshine, temperatures climbing to 86. It's going to be sunny Wednesday and Thursday, high each day 82. Friday, sunny, high 80. That's your weather forecast for this hour from KCAA 106.5 FM and 1050 AM. The stations that leave no listener behind.
Kcaa Racing Live, heard only on KCAA, is your command center for racing news, the hottest interviews, and DIY projects. We are your destination for interviews with racers and fans, on-track interviews, in-shop interviews with engine builders, car restorers. Hear from our correspondents on live track car shows. Kcaa Racing Live. Start your engine and race on over to KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM every Saturday at our new time, 11 a.m. Kcaa Racing Live, where we put you in the driver's seat.
Psst. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Do you know where you are? Well, you've done it now. You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station. So expect the unexpected.
What have I learned so far? I've learned that dropping out of high school was my decision, but as a single mom, that decision affected more than just me. To set an example, I had to be the example. I found a free high school diploma program at Learn for Life that fits around my busy life. I have a team of teachers, tutors, and counselors that really care. I learn at my pace in an environment that is safe and comfortable. What have I learned so far? I've learned that I can change my life.
Are you 14 to 19 years old and looking for a free high school diploma program with flexible meeting times? This program allows you to keep your job or important family responsibilities while earning your high school diploma. If you've fallen behind on credits or dropped out of school completely, get back on track with free tutoring, a caring faculty, and one-on-one attention. For more information on how to reach your graduation goal, visit learnforlife.org. That's LEARN, the number 4, LIFE.org. Or enroll today by calling 877-360-LEARN. That's 877-360-LEARN.
KCAA.
There's been so many things that held us down, but now it seems like things are.
Good morning. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. That's Mr. Kenny Archibald letting you know we ain't going to give it up. Too much to go forward to. This is Black History Month. We have a Black History figure here today, and this woman is making history. She's made history, and she's even threatened to take me to the hoop. I don't know how much her reputation will be boosted by beating up on an old man, but I do know how it will be reduced if she loses. How are you doing this morning, Miss Tamika?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much
Wonderful,
for having me.
wonderful. Let me get you to be sure to talk into that microphone.
Yes, sir.
We have a young lady here who is the Director of Athletics at the University of California, Riverside, and she was just a few moments ago bragging about how great her women's basketball team is doing. Welcome to California.
Thank you.
You come here from San Antonio, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Our Lakers lost to the Spurs there last night. You should have left a little bit more Laker love there while you were there. As you've come to California, have you established yourself as a Laker fan? Are we going to have a friendly interview, or is this going to be kind of antagonistic?
It could be friendly. I've been to the Lakers-Clippers game in the Staples and got an opportunity to hang out in the box suite, so I'm a fan of L.A. right now.
You know what? That's exactly the way I feel about the Clippers, too. I'm not a Clipper hater. I love L.A. mainly because if anything good happens in L.A., it happens good in the Inland Empire, and we all get to wallow in that sunshine. Speaking of sunshine, we've had a great day out here today.
Beautiful.
Beautiful day. You have been charged. You know, you've got a great job.
Yes.
You've had you were actually with the same type of title as the Director of Athletics at Clark University in Atlanta. That's the place where I got my wife from, by the way.
Wonderful.
Yes. Well, actually, she came to California, and I captured her while she was here, and we've gone back a couple of times. And I enjoy Atlanta, but I love California. Tell me, what's the difference for you between being the Director of Athletics at Clark University and being the Director of Athletics at the University of California, Riverside?
Well, the responsibilities are the same. My focus is on our student athletes. As a former student athlete, I really take pride in their quality of their education, their experience, making sure that they have the life skills necessary to build careers and be champions while in college, but build careers after college. So that's pretty much the same. But coming from a Division II institution to a Division I institution, more fiscal responsibility. So fundraising is a huge focus for me here at Riverside. The other thing is that the infrastructure is a little different from coming from Clark Atlanta, which is a historically black college and university. We had a lot of resources, but fiscal and human resources was scarce. But being at Riverside, I've learned more about the infrastructure here, and coming from a Division II infrastructure to Division I now, not so much has changed in the last 10, 15 years here at Riverside. So Chancellor Kim gave me an opportunity to come and elevate the profile of our program. I'm very excited about that. I've always had an opportunity to build programs. I was able to build that at Clark Atlanta under Dr. Carlton E. Brown's presidency. In 5 years as the athletic director, I won, me and my team, 7 championships, and I say it was a team effort from the coaches doing their part, but administrators, the student support, and ultimately the president's support for us to do what we need to do to be a better program. And
it's not new, but it's new. The idea of women handling not women's athletics, but all of the athletics. What is the challenge there for you?
Well, I think women don't as often boast what they've been doing in the department. I've been in intercollegiate athletics for 15 years, so I've worked my way from a student scholar athlete, full scholarship athlete, to a graduate assistant position, then to an assistant coach basketball and volleyball position, to then the head coach basketball position. So with those, I've learned a lot during that journey, more of the management of a program. I also did more administrative work in my latter years, which was compliance, academic advising, was the number 2 in the department as a senior woman administrator. That's the highest ranking female official in the athletic department per the NCAA. So that's an appointment that is not, it's a designation. So that there's a lot of skills and expertise that come behind that position. So there are a lot of us in the country. Sometimes as women, we have so much other responsibility, like wanting to balance a family, which is a high priority on my list as well. That's why I told the Inland Empire when I came here that I'm a person, not a position. So you'll see me with my family. You'll see me with my kids, spending time during day and night, trying to make sure I give them the attention that they need. But also as a administrator here in the city, as a leader, I think it's important for me to be out in the community.
Yes.
So you'll see all of that as a sitting athletic director for UCR.
Tell us about your family.
Well, I have an 8-year-old daughter,
okay,
and a 12-year-old son. We're enjoying, I think, the quality of life in California. They've enjoyed. They did a good transition, had a good time in San Antonio. But when I decided I was going to take the move to UCR, my son started Googling, is that where Golden State plays, and is that where the Lakers and the Clippers? So he's a basketball fan, as you would imagine. My daughter thought about all the opportunities she would get to do some of the things she loved, like gymnastics and swimming. So every day, 60, 70 degrees and sunny every day, they really have enjoyed California.
That you have young children brings a very interesting concern for me. That being that our college campuses, much like our churches, aren't used up all the time.
Yes.
And as the ability to make those resources available for our kids, athletic director, lady with children, what do you see the school's role can be in reaching out for either recruitment purposes or getting children to have a vested interest in being on the campus? The idea of bringing young people on campus long before they're ready to go to college.
Right.
I'm thinking in terms of at elementary school.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you some things that I've done at previous institutions that I've kind of brought here to Riverside, and our team has just, really jumped on top of it, and that is partnering with the schools. I've been to the RUSD Moreno Valley. I just spoke to 1,600 girls in sports from the community at the Grove Church. It was an awesome opportunity, and my message is pretty, similar everywhere I go. We've got to commit to connect, and that commitment is to the community. I have no concern about my children attaining higher education. They've grown up on college campuses.
Yes.
They're very comfortable on college campus. I want that for other young people in the community. So we've given tickets.
Well, the challenge is that comfort available to children whose parents do not go to the college or who have no college experience, but as a first time education buyer.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Well, UCR is an access institution. That's a part of our strategic plan. That's a part of me coming to this campus, is to get out in the community more and invite them in. We had some point become the Ivy Tower, and the community couldn't reach us. But now with the new chancellor, new leadership, we're getting more young people an opportunity to just come. We'll bus them in. I've gotten partners in education. Just last night we had the superintendents that, attend the games. I get a chance to host them and show them the experience. We've brought AVID programs, and so it's not about can you afford to get there. It's about reaching out to me as the athletic director or my staff and our coaches and saying, we want to come. We'll figure out a way. We've got a lot of people in the community now that I've arrived and said, I want them there, that'll get them there. We had the 100 black men. They came, and they're bringing other young people. We have my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, coming in March for a final game, bringing their young people. We had a function.
Folks, hang in here. We're talking to Miss Tamika Smith-Jones. Tamika Jones-Smith. Tamika Jones-Jones.
Yes.
Tamika, she's going to possibly explain all those alternatives. But the main thing is that she is an Atlanta native. She is an active member of many professional organizations and committees. She is or has been a member of the National Association of Collegiate Directors of Athletics, National Association of Collegiate Women Athletic Administrators, NCAA Leadership Selection Committee for Ethnic Males and Females, and Achieving Coaches Excellence Program Selection Committee. Smith-Jones has has also served or presented to the NCAA Committee for Women's Athletics, NCAA Division II Athletic Directors Committee, and on and on and on. And as usual, we here at Empire Talks Back have the people who will aid us in figuring out the quest for excellence. We'll be right back after this short break and speak more with Miss Tamika Jones Smith-Jones, our girl right here. Tamika. If I don't say Tamika next time, I'll have to do 50 push-ups right here at the table. We're going to do Tamika.
I'll pay to see that.
And I'll count them. I'll count them.
I'll pay to see that one.
We'll be right
Come on.
back after this short break.
Publish your legal notice in Westside Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. Westside Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call Westside Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. KCAA, Loma Linda.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We are talking this morning to Miss Tamika Jones, and she is the director of athletics at the University of California, Riverside. She has been newly installed since I think the 15th of June. She's been here long enough to enjoy California. She's brought her son and daughter out here, and she's very committed to the community. And one of the things that I'm concerned about is that since you're making history, what are we going to do to be sure that you don't become history? You've got to help these guys win over there. What's the deal? What's the pressure on you as the athletic director to do what? To win, to embed us deeper in the community, to brand UCR, to knock USC off? What's your goal over there? What's your job?
All of that. All of that.
Okay.
Well, I think the first responsibility is to hire good people, and I was lucky to inherit good people at UCR. So one of the things that I did coming in was make sure that all of my coaches had a one-on-one with me, were able to give me an assessment of their programs. I have a good idea of what they need. Mm-hmm. So we've knocked off UCLA in men's soccer, by the way. So, I don't think we had a chance at USC yet.
So that's the only reason you haven't beaten them yet. Okay.
Right.
Excellent.
But,
is that why Pat Hayden's retiring? Is that possibly it? He just doesn't want to face up to the wrath that you can bring to the table?
That could be the case. I'm not sure. They know I'm here.
Good thing that, you're humble, because otherwise we may get something started here.
Yes.
I'm going to keep pushing you.
Okay. Well, another part of my responsibility, I believe, is building buzz. So we are the only Division I institution here in the Inland Empire. That's a large landscape. We talk about the Berkeleys, the UCLAs. Have a good colleague, Bernard Murr is the AD at Stanford. And I think people need to really know what's going on at Riverside. So one of my responsibilities is to make sure I elevate the profile everywhere I go. I don't turn down opportunities to brag on UCR, our university, and our program. So resources is probably the key challenge, though. Even though we've got a full staff, we don't have the depth of staff that we need for a Division I program to really thrive. So administration has been very supportive of me and my thoughts of what I need to build that. Facilities-wise, we are trying to compete with the Big West Conference. I've been traveling. I'll be at Fullerton this weekend with our women's basketball team. Got a chance to go to Irvine and some of the other campuses. Pretty stellar campuses, pretty nice facilities.
What are we lacking at UCR that you'd like to put there right away, if possible?
An arena. How about that?
And how big would that arena be?
Oh, it would have to be big enough to have the capacity to host NC2A. So about 15,000 would be ideal.
About 15,000.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
We'll
yes.
put that on the wish list for you.
Put that on the wish list,
Okay.
and it is on the master plan. So my chancellor has already been talking about that, and right now we just want to win championships in the classroom, on the courts, in the community. So I want our student athletes to be seen as Highlander heroes of this community. And so a lot of that is just about sharing the story, managing the message, making sure that people are not talking about the old things that they didn't like, but talk about the new, exciting things, innovative things that we're doing now. And all that credit really goes to our product that we put on the fields, and that's our student athletes and the coaches recruit that talent. So it's an exciting time to be a Highlander, and a lot of work to be done.
Very good, and we will do what we can to support you.
Thank you.
Part of that is going to be to find out about your program for bringing young people on campus,
Yes.
and we want to be part of helping to get kids to come in and write their name on a tree somewhere.
Wonderful.
That always helps. Now, one of the other things that we need to look at here, as I look at my list of questions here, as you go to meetings across the country and all these organizations that you belong to, question arises: Are you the example of what is coming and what should be, or do you find more of people who look like you at these meetings? How many Black African American directors of athletics do we run into across the country?
A handful. Is
that a big hand or a little hand?
It's a little hand.
A little hand.
It's a little hand, and I know them all, and outstanding
now
ladies.
that right there says it's not enough.
It's not enough.
Anybody that can say, well, I know all of them.
Yes, it's not enough.
That means there's not enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not enough. And I'll just be honest with you. I really pride myself in being a history maker, trailblazer, whatever we want to call it. But I'm an illustration of hope, have always been.
Illustration of hope.
Yes,
I like that.
yes. And so when young people of color see me, I want them to be able to talk to me, reach me by phone, by email, or whatever their social media, whatever
Yes.
their mode is. I want to be able to share with them the opportunities they have for higher education, whether it's at Riverside or any educational institution. A lot of our young people just need to know they need to try college, whether that's community college, 4-year, historically black colleges, Ivy League. They have to know.
The only thing probably that's problematic about most of our kids, or any kids about going to college, because the idea of being away with other young people
Yes.
is wonderful. The idea of being there 24 hours, 7 with
Sure.
other young people. But this issue of going to class,
Yes.
getting grades and
Yes.
stuff like that really isn't hard.
It's not.
And I did well when I returned to school after I had my cultural,
Sure.
my little cultural break there. But going back to school made it very obvious to me that, wow, this is a lot easier than hustling up rent.
Right.
Figuring
Right.
out how to be somebody without being anybody.
Right.
So I think it's a great thing. How do we encourage more people to see your success and feel that they can duplicate or emulate that?
That's a great question, and I think that we promote the entertainment industry more so than we promote the rock stars that are in higher education. I think we show our young people too much of the glitz and glamour of an easy life. What I've done for my family.
I just got a call from Jay-Z.
Yes.
He said it's not an easy life.
It is not an easy life.
It's not an easy
It
life.
is
There's a lot of hills to climb, a lot of curves to get behind, and a lot of doors that you wish you hadn't opened, just like the ones that you do open. Thanks for the call, Jay-Z. Okay, but
Thank you. Tell Bay I said hi.
oh yeah.
Yes, so I think that we need more models in the community, that will be able to take the time with young people. It's very difficult for people in my position to spend the time that's needed with young people, but you have to schedule it in. I schedule it in just like I schedule any executive meeting, business meeting, or other meeting that I have, to spend time with community and make sure that the young people have an opportunity to ask me questions.
Right.
And me be a model for them. So we need more mentors, and we need more people like yourself that will promote the good, positive things that we're doing.
Let me beat you in basketball, and those things can happen.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, see what I'm talking about? That's okay. It's going to be for real folks, it's not going to be a plaything.
That'll be senior abuse, senior abuse.
She's going to somehow figure out how to brag about beating an old man here, but that's okay because she may lose. It's very possible.
She's got game.
But I could have a Kobe moment.
You could.
Kobe's had
an old Kobe moment.
Yeah, by the way, Kobe's had a couple Kobe moments.
Like Adobe moments.
But
Joey Gillis.
The issue for many of our kids is that same way we talk about college, we talk about vocational school, and there's some young people who go into athletics.
Yes.
That are, man, if I don't make it, I don't know what to do. Okay, yeah. So we've got to applaud the desire and the passion, but we've also got to be realistic about the real.
Right.
That there's, I don't know how many football teams, but there's more than I can remember the names of. But there's not enough that will remember the name of everybody that's trying to try out and be on the team.
That's correct.
So the idea has to be, some of these guys need something to fall back on, but then there's guys like Cam Newton, and you could tell in high school, wow, a matter of fact, there was a big, I guess the conversation about that is over now, Cam getting paid while he was in college.
Sure.
I think we had Shaq last week or 2 weeks ago standing up talking about, oh yeah, LSU had to pay, they paid big.
Sure. Some
of these guys are athletes. They're not going to be accountants. They're going to need accountants.
Right.
How do we deal with that part of it? The fact that, okay, we've got some people who are athletes. We think they're such great athletes that, I know you don't do it, but you know people who do, who figure out a way to bend the rule to,
sure,
to make these things happen so that, and the only thing that's problematic is these kids that are coming in, they're young, and so instead of being happy and taking some money and putting it in the bank, they buy a car, and their friends say, well, where you get the money for the car? And then all of a sudden
the investigation happens,
the investigation
right?
Start and all of that. What is a scholarship? What does it smell like? What does it look like? What's legal? What's illegal? And when we get finished talking about that, why can't these guys just get a check? What's wrong with them getting paid?
Hey.
You know what? We want to take a short break.
Sure.
To give you time to think about that, and plus, I really want you to think seriously about what could happen if we get on the court. I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm trying to make you realize that there's no there's no pride in beating on old people, and there's probably a lot of shame in losing to them. You want to stay right in the middle there. You may. Anyway, this is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, talking smack as usual. Looking forward to the game of the day so that I can get all of those people who want
the pre-game of the day.
Well,
me and you.
The pre-game of the day.
Then Cam and
Peyton. I'm looking past that. I'm looking for the big game.
I saw you try to get away from that.
That might set me up to lose. That might give you some more encouragement. Don't eat that apple. We'll be right back. This is Wallace Allen with Miss Tamika Smith-Jones. She is the athletic director at UCR, University of California in Riverside. And hey, she may be inviting your child to come over, visit the campus, put their name on a tree, and get dedicated and moving toward a college education. We'll be right back.
Publish your legal notice in Westside Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. Westside Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call Westside Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. I was just speaking with Miss Tamika Jones Smith during the break here as she's trying to get out of this basketball game that she's challenged me to. I'm thinking about it. But, I'm thinking we might want to do it in front of people, a fundraiser. Staples Center.
Sounds good.
Because if you had your center
I don't
here,
have my arena yet.
You had your arena here, we could do it here. But Staples Center, I don't know if you want to get your team and I'll get my team, or you get...
You can meet me at the Big West Championship. I'm surely my men's and women's team is going to be there this year.
There.
Yeah. Anaheim.
What?
Honda Center.
That would really be great for the Inland Empire.
I'm trying to make it easier for you.
That would really be great.
That's closer.
And if you're able to do that, I'll tell you what. I'll just concede the game. I will
write a check instead.
Okay, no, we're gonna play. We'll play instead. Okay, before we went on this break, and before you tried to, take my mind off of beating you in basketball, we were talking about athletic scholarships.
Yes.
The intricacies of an athletic scholarship. We hear about guys getting trips to the moon and all that kind of stuff. What are the limitations on an athletic scholarship, and what are some of the creative things you may have heard that people were able to do to entice an athlete?
Well, every year it gets more and more enticing, but a scholarship consists of your tuition, fees, books, room, and board. However, there's been new legislation that has just been added where you have a cost of attendance, which is that other costs that you may not be able to just have in hand, that we can give actually checks for student athletes to be able to take care of living expenses, food, the stipend. So I think that's very beneficial. This notion of paying athletes, if you knew what the rigor of the day was for a student athlete, you would probably imagine they need to be paid.
Yes.
They can't get jobs. That's
the other part.
We barely give them opportunities for interns. Many of them don't get a chance. Most of them don't get a chance to study abroad. Those are some of the things that I would desire, especially at a high research institution like UCR, that we get a chance to have our student athletes to do some of those things, studying abroad.
It's not any entrepreneurial
absolutely
that they may have had, and especially if we're talking about people who know that I've got a 1 out of 10 chance of becoming a pro.
Absolutely.
And
you're going to go pro in something else.
And
if
I'm meeting and greeting and dealing with all these people and they're my friends and they're going to go pro, it seems like the natural thing to do would be to move these people into some type of sports endeavors,
sports
the
profession.
Business of sports.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
And that the idea that I could be training my nephew. I publish a newspaper. I need people that don't charge a lot.
Sure.
I train my nephew to be a photographer.
Sure.
Train my associate to be a videographer.
Sure.
And they get good and they can go make money in other places.
Absolutely.
But if he gets a scholarship to come to play, he could play volleyball.
Sure.
Tafase could play volleyball, especially on the girls' team. He liked that. I'm sure. But he would have to give up his videography. He could not go to weddings and make money and do things that had nothing to do with sports. I think that's insane.
Yeah, it's unfortunate from that perspective, and that's why I think athletic directors like myself understand the balance of that.
Who can I get to come and argue that point? Because you're on my side. You're saying the same thing. It's insane. They should be able to do something about that.
No, I think you'll see more arguments regarding it. I think that is clearly on the table with the NCAA and with the member institutions of what can we do to really balance the playing field. You now have a division of divisions. We're Division I, but we're mid-level, and now you have Power 5 conferences where you're talking about the Cam Newtons and the Shaqs or the LSUs and the Auburns.
People who are saying we can get along without the NCAA.
And that's probably the most ludicrous comment there, that people think that we can do this without some governance. Right now, there's still such a separation amongst us that is impossible for our student athletes to really feel a balance as a Division I athlete. They should be able to do some of the things that is going to allow them to build careers outside of sport.
Yes.
And that's the internships, that's the study abroad. They can't get the jobs. That's why they're looking for the cash. Right now, the cost of attendance is a recruiting mechanism. So institutions like Riverside that can't afford to pay the cost of attendance, we can only give you the full scholarship. We get pushed down at the bottom of the recruiting line because you have the other power conferences that give them $3,000 and $4,000, $5,000 depending on what institution. So
now $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000, is that an hour, a week, a month, a semester? What are we?
That's a year, typically a year. Yes,
a year.
Yes. Okay. But it's pretty good cash for. I remember going to college and begging my parents to send me $100.
Right.
And that would get me from
I used to think
1 month to to the end of the year, probably.
I used to think that telling nephews send him $25 a month would be helpful. They say, yeah, okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, right.
But it's still important that they do have some type of income that they can depend on.
That's true.
And whether it's that $25 check from aunt and uncle. But if you're an athlete and you have the requirement to get up and go to work every morning.
And you're going to work every morning.
And you've got to go to class to prove.
You have to go to class to hit the court.
So the idea is some equity at some point. How would you do that? And do you think it's a good idea? Do you think athletes need to go into the union scenario, or is it something that the universities need to do to acknowledge the need and start dealing with that?
I think that the universities need to assess the need. I think too many universities outside of your athletic department or key officials on the campus don't really understand athletics and the intricacies of it, the business side of it. More people than probably should think that athletic departments are self-sufficient. That we make all this money, or from the academic side, it's sometimes frowned upon because you're giving so much money to an athletic department and may not be giving as much money to the academic side of the house. So there's internal challenges within universities, and I think being at Riverside, we're balancing that out, and I think a lot of other institutions are trying to balance that out. But the ones that are penalized the most are the student athletes, because what they're trying to do is come get a quality education.
Right.
Their sport is their access to the campus, and they want to have the skill sets and the tools that they need to be professionals. And many of them already know that they're not going to be professionals in sport. So when we don't give them the opportunity to not focus on being hungry, not focus on being homeless, some of them, we don't have a clue what some of them experience.
Just far away from home with
homesick.
With no balance.
We have international students that, can you imagine?
Can you imagine coming from Mississippi?
Can you imagine? Exactly. Even Mississippi.
I don't need you to come from Indonesia. Can you come
Mississippi.
from Mississippi, right?
Absolutely.
And mama who cared about you, a little small town where everybody knew your name and everybody could tell when you were.
Can't even afford to come see you play.
Can't come.
So they've made adjustments with that too, where you can even invest in your young people enough that they can get 4-year scholarships now. Okay. So there's some good changes, I think, happening across the landscape, and I think that's because the students are voicing their concerns and making others recognize what their real issues are. They're smiling every day, but behind that smile, they've got a lot of challenges. Right. And as an athletic director, I think from a female perspective, I come and nurture that. I see it. I try to do all I can to inquire more about it and fix it.
Now, you admitted something or suggested something there that everybody wants to deny as, there's equal access means that everybody's equal and approaches things the same way. I don't think that's necessarily true or necessary in order to justify equal access.
Right.
I think the idea that some men are different in their coaching, in their presence. Some men would be more nurturing and some would be more cold. And to suggest that, with women, we've got some women who can be more nurturing. And would we say, just in general, classing everybody, women tend to be more nurturing and concerned about the people more than men who seem to be more concerned about the system. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know what part of that is true, but I did hear you say that you feel that you are more nurturing with the students than how you see other people do it, and possibly more than men. How about other women?
Well, you know,
do you see women that are cold, analytical, using computer readouts as opposed to? I mean, that's the move with some of the coaching now. That's the move with baseball. They're
Right.
doing that. Some people are trying to bring that into basketball, certainly with football, that the computer takes my emotions out. This guy he blocks everybody out. Nobody ever gets around it. We
Right.
should have him in the game. Whereas the coach says, yeah, but I need somebody in there that when they get pressed that they're going to dig deep and say, I ain't going to get
Sure,
beat. You
sure.
know? So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that the student athletes that we have today are requiring us to be more nurturing, to be more compassionate, and understanding them, to really get into fine details of who they are as individuals. So I would say, you know, across the landscape, athletic directors are looking at their responsibilities differently for a positive. Okay, so everything that I've seen in my time has been progressive and transforming, and I think it's for the betterment of the student athletes.
Yeah, excellent. Now, you mentioned fundraising, and we mentioned how the bottom line on most programs on campus is that they've got to pay for themselves some kind of way.
Sure.
Athletics seem to be a means of not just paying for the athletic department, but for extending money or providing money into other departments. Is that true?
That is true. That is true. Not so much so on UCR's campus, providing money for other departments or.
But if things were perfect.
But in a perfect world, that could be the case. But let me tell you, right now we are shifting money. So the athletic department pays for services on our campus. That I don't totally agree with.
Well, I mean, now you got to pay to rent the stadium.
Correct.
Okay?
Those types of things.
The stadium was built for you, and the only reason it was built was because the money that you made could afford them to build it.
Well,
to some extent.
To some extent.
Well, now this is the question: if Beyonce and Jay-Z are going to make a lot of money to be the halftime show,
and I can't miss that.
We won't let you miss that. Okay. You've got a theater department on campus.
Sure.
How, is our theater department on a fundraising under a demand to make money as they put on the shows and justify their access to the theaters and stuff on campus the way athletics are? You
would be surprised. I don't know if the way athletics is, but you'd be surprised that most campuses, especially like ours, the deans and professors have now become fundraising arms of the campus, because there's so much need, so much growth, so much we're aspiring to do. It really takes all hands on deck. So we're very much more collaborative as campuses now. It's not siloed as I'm sure there's some that are still, many that are still are. But what I found at Riverside is more of a collaborative effort. It's very clear everybody has to fundraise. It's not, and so even in my department when I came in, there were no fundraising goals, and so I had to institute those. And so my coaches had to understand, this is what I need your discretionary fund to look like at the end of the day if you want to do this. Now our women's basketball team just went to Guadalupe the first month I got here. That came from their fundraising. So there are a lot of perks of being able to be self-sufficient in some way. But we have a lot of student athletes that don't get an opportunity to even just get those skill sets like fundraising.
We're going to take a short break. We're speaking to Tamika Smith-Jones. She is the Director of Athletics at the University of California, Riverside. And we are going to get to your questions, guys. We'll be right back after this very short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the money and how it's needed and how you may be able to participate in helping meet some of those fundraising goals. And we're going to take a couple of questions from some callers. All right?
Okay.
We'll be right back. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, and I am planning to win a one-on-one basketball game against a really smart-talking local athletic director here in the Inland Empire. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to embarrass Ms. Jones. I mean, we'll talk about that later. We'll be right back.
Public
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
For more local radio every day, tune into Kcaa Loma Linda.
You're the cutest thing that I ever did see. I really love your beaches, want to shake your tree.
Shake my tree, baby. This is Empire Talks back on Wallace Allen on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. We're speaking to Tamika Jones Smith. She is the Director of Athletics at the University of California, Riverside. And part of her job is to bring $1 million a day into that system, but she hasn't reached that goal, but no one else has either. I don't guess they told you that that's what you're supposed to do, but if you were able to do that.
They didn't have to tell me. I knew.
You already knew.
And I'm going to get $1 million from you today if you call me Tamika one more time.
Did I say Tamika? I mean,
they keep waving you off saying, it's Tamika.
It's Tamika.
I told you like the hat. Tam.
Ya está viejo este hombre.
Tamika.
All right, that's your last. Jones. Don't mess it up again now.
Miss Jones, I got it right.
Mr. Wallace.
Mr. Wallace, Miss Jones, I know what to say. We'll get that straight.
$1 million a day.
$1 million a day.
That's right.
What is your plan? What would you like for people to do to support UCR at this point?
Well, it's very simple. I've been saying it since day one. I need 3 P's. I need them to promote UCR.
Okay.
That's building the buzz. So tell people about us. With that promotion, I started a newsletter where they can actually get encounter with me on what I've done for the whole month, basically in the community, so that they can get more information about us before they become friends of athletics.
You should have a one-on-one once a month.
You can't be a friend of athletics and want to ask somebody to give money to program if they don't have a return on the investment. So if they know more about you, then they'll be inquiring more. So that promotion is very important. Second thing is their presence. If they come to the games, I'm sure that the experience that they're going to have is going to be stellar. They're going to want to come back. Ticket receipts are a big part of our revenue.
Good hot dogs there.
We have a full-blown concessions. We have the food trucks. As athletic director, I have a hospitality suite that I love to bring community officials in and make sure they get a chance to engage with some of our campus officials. So that's been very good.
You don't make people do push-ups in there that lost basketball games.
I do not. I'm very cordial in that space. I try not to be as competitive in that space as I am when we go outside of that space.
But I would make you do your push-ups in front of everybody right there. I'm just letting you know. So if you.
So I need them to promote UCR athletics.
Yes.
I need their presence. I need them at the games. The worst thing a student athlete can experience is an empty facility when they're competing. And the third thing is I need them to find a way to partner with us. Now, that's where I turn it back on the business owners and the community and people that see the captive audience I have for them. Higher education, a college campus, athletics, all the marketing opportunities you need, butts already in the seat.
Gotcha.
So if they have businesses or opportunities that they want to be promoted or they want to partner with us, co-brand with us, that's the partnership. I've talked to several different new partners of athletics since I've been here in 6 months because I'm building out a new athletic locker room facility. And it's going to be an innovative and creative space for all 300 of our student athletes. It's going to cost us $1.5 million. We need $3 million to make sure that we get all the change orders and taken care of.
You got that straight, Anthony?
You got that. Okay. So, and we need partners that can give us $1,000 or more to do that quickly because I want that done by August. So when the new recruiting class, the returning students get back on campus, they will come into a space and know in a year's time they've seen something happen.
Are you having singular fundraising projects, or is that one of 2 or 3 projects that you're working on?
It's multiple projects that I'm working on.
Okay.
We have a event, Title 99 for Title 9, that's coming up April the 9th, that we are supporting our female sports and scholarship funding. We're raising $50,000 for scholarships. We have our athletic association, which has an annual giving campaign, the thermometer that goes up,
Yes.
So that's going to be a large part of that fundraising effort. And so you can get incentives for being a part of that association, and all different levels. And it's I can email that. It's on our website, Go Highlanders with an S on the end.com.
How's the track and field team?
Our track and field, we just appointed our new track coach, Nate Brown, who is a product of this community and has been around for a while. He is really an exciting coach. Has really recruited all of our student athletes under the former coach. He did a lot of the recruiting, and we had our cross country champion Faith, who won the Big West this year, and a lot of we've had our first track meet last week in Northern Arizona. We had 4 record-breaking student athletes that broke career records for our program. So we're definitely on the rise there.
Very good.
We hosted Big West last year, so we've got 2 track meets coming up this year, so people should come out and see some good athletes.
We want to help promote you and promote UCR, obviously, and the athletic department, because the show is about to end, and all of my braggadocious comments about basketball and beating you, the reality's coming in, and I don't want you to actually meet me on the court, because I don't want you to get a bad reputation for beating up on old people. But I do want myself and the rest of my crew and everyone to feel real comfortable about coming out and supporting you guys.
Good,
and
I appreciate
those
that.
things like that. So let's take a couple of calls here. Joe, we've got 2 people on the call. I think we've got one person with a concern about the environment. Let's get his question first. Who is that?
Hello, I'm Ron. I'm in Hamilton Field, which is 20 minutes north of San Francisco, where athletics is the big issue today.
Oh, okay. What's going on up there?
Well, my concerns are
I think that
simple.
a football game up there in Santa Clara, but
yeah, Santa Clara. Well, yeah, that's down the road.
Yeah, okay.
That's south. I'm up north, and up north is Hamilton Air Force Base, which has been closed, and they built a lot of homes. And recently, they built a beautiful gymnasium on a toxic-free site. But they're proposing a sports center on top of landfill 26, which is approximately 50 acres, which is a military dump site on the ground.
Now,
they
if
simply
someone
covered it.
So
now the problem is, if you're going to put a sports center there with about a dozen vents that spew out 24/7 methane with all the toxic contaminants and particulates that are in the military dump site, I don't think it's a good thing to build a sports center where athletes have to have clean oxygen to support their athletics.
Ron, I think you're absolutely right. And, of course, I'd like to ask Miss Tamika, how would you feel if someone gave you some land to build a stadium on and it had a little toxic waste on it? And say, it's just, how would you feel about that?
I'd be very concerned, and I think that we would need to get the environmental specialists in to make sure they prepare that land for what we're trying to use it for. So,
right.
Yeah.
And that is something to be concerned about.
It is yes, it is.
Because we're finding, the whole city of Flint, they let let the whole city there go crazy based on giving them bad water.
Yep.
And while they're telling the kids there, we're going to drink that water, the state officials are drinking bottled water, right?
Yes.
Okay, we've got another question. Let's see, who is this calling? Is that Mr. Evans?
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Evans. How are you, sir?
First question for Tamika.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Earlier she said, let me be honest with you. My question is, what was she doing before that?
Right. I meant to bring her up on that, too. I think she was probably talking about how she's going to beat me in basketball, and she's finally said, let me tell the truth now.
What is the major goal of the program that she's administering in terms of the students that are part of the program? What is her goal for those students?
My goal is for them to graduate, and in that process, I want to make sure that they have a great experience. Again, sports is the access to higher education. They got to know what the end goal is, and that is that we're building championships, not just on the court, in the classroom, but for life.
Amen. I love that.
Very good. Mr. Evans, you attended an event yesterday. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk about that next week. It had to do with drones and people flying drones at crazy speeds. I think it was an international drone race, correct?
It was called the Grand Drone Prix. People were qualifying to go to Dubai in the middle of March
and win $1 million.
Participate in a drone race with $1 million prize.
Now, see,
$1 million, that would help.
That would help. That would help Tamika with the fundraising here.
I didn't get that information.
They must have already heard how smart
competitive I was.
Yes, and they didn't want to bring that up. They wanted some other guys to win that. But we'll get a chance to talk about that possibly next week, Leonard. I appreciate that. We do have a big football game coming up today.
Yes.
And we have, certainly, I would consider you an expert. Give us your comments on, first of all, oh, no, not you, expert, Mr. Garcia. I know that you are indeed the man. You spent all your money. I know you bet big money. You bet big money on Denver, right? No,
I bet on the NFL. They're not going to allow it, man. It's already fixed. It's fixed already, man. Come on.
And footnote, if people want more information about the drones, International Drone Racing Association, IDRA. Look it up on the internet.
You got it. We'll do that. Thank you, sir. So tell us about your feelings, Miss Jones, about the game today.
Well, I'm hoping that it's going to be a good game, a competitive game. I wanted to go down to the wire. I could take overtime, but if I had to do one little dance, I'd do a dab right now for you.
Listen, most of the men that I talk to about this game have to immediately start talking about Cam Newton and how this is. Come on, Cam Newton. Talk to me about Cam Newton.
Cam Newton is a bad man. He's an Auburn brother. You know, I'm a Southern girl, Georgia Peach. So, but I love Peyton Manning as well. He's come back from tremendous injury.
Listen, this just demonstrates the world has got too much political correctness. The only thing that a woman is going to usually say about Cam Newton is how handsome he is.
He is very handsome.
The man's 6'5".
He is 6 foot tall, and he stay in the pocket.
Everything that you want to
stay in the pocket. He get the ball to the right player. He will run it in if he has to.
Home.
That last minute, he's going to make the right play. He's a smart.
He is. And that's why I put my 50 push-ups on Cam, and I hope you did too. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. Tamika, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we anticipate getting you to come back. We are in your corner all the way.
I appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun.
It's our fun. We look forward to you coming back. We'll be back next week under two circumstances. One, if the good Lord's willing. Two, if the creek don't rise. God bless you. Thank you for hanging out. We'll see you then.
Every word I say.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Super Bowl 50 by the numbers. I'm Jeff Nathanson. The countdown to kickoff underway. 4.5 hours to go until the Super Bowl. The pregame shows are on the air for the Panthers and the Broncos. Carolina enters Super Bowl 50 with a record of 15-1. They are the favorite in the game. However, the last four teams that went 15-1 in the regular season did not win the Super Bowl. That includes the 2011 Packers. As far as the Carolina Panthers are concerned, otherwise, they've gone 31 games in a row, rushing for at least 100 or more yards. That's the longest streak in the NFL since the Pittsburgh Steelers way back in 1974 through 1976. Kickoff is at 6:30 Eastern Time, Super Bowl 50 in Santa Clara, California. Speaking of Super Bowl 50, there are some key players. Cam Newton